And good Tuesday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Already warm, 73. It's not warm yet, is it? 95 is what we're headed to. A heat index of 103 by this afternoon. Gets to that point where you can't really get air in. Miserable. That's what's coming for us this afternoon. As a matter of fact, let's look at radar as we see that we've got a heat index. And it basically the entire state of Mississippi across Bama, Louisiana, Arkansas, Georgia, Tennessee. Look at this. It's a heat index, and this is going to be through somewhere around 7 p.m. this afternoon. Now, we are picking up fog this morning. Look at this in Philadelphia, Kemper, Winston, on into Noxubee counties this morning. If you're in these areas here, be careful. Highway 16, a lot of fog there. 21 as well if you're coming out of Noxubee toward Neshoba County. Caution, caution. Also, 16 West, Highway 25, those areas have got it today. We'll talk about in a minute what's going on with the weather. There's a chance there in Alabama we could have some severe weather tomorrow. Not so much in Mississippi, but a small chance there in the Clark County area. We'll look at that as hot weather is upon us. It's going to get worse between now and August, isn't it? Summertime is flying already. June the 24th. We are coming up on the 4th of July before we know it. Coming quickly and rapidly. 249 years, is that right? Next year will be our 250th. We'll be right back. Let's go get our good word of the morning and get a good message from Collinsville. We'll be right back, and we'll tell you what went on, what's shaping America.
If you've listened to this segment at all over the last few months, you've heard a lot about the Apostle Paul, the writer of around half the New Testament. You've heard us say the Apostle Paul says this, or the Apostle Paul says that. Well, in today's scripture, Philippians 3, 4 through 7, Paul tells us a little bit about himself. Listen to this. He says, if anyone else thinks he has grounds for confidence in the flesh, I have more. Circumcised on the 8th day, of the nation of Israel, of the tribe of Benjamin, a Hebrew born of Hebrews, regarding the law, a Pharisee, regarding zeal, persecuting the church, regarding the righteousness that is in the law, blameless. Man, his Jewish credentials put him at the top of the list. That's like the best person you know saying, I was born to 2 faithful Christian parents. My dad's a pastor. My grandpa was a pastor. My great-grandpa was a pastor. I was in the church every time the doors were open. I went to Bible college, seminary, and now I work in the church too. I never cussed, smoked a cigarette, took a drink, nor have I ever even looked at you funny. Surely you know someone like that. In this passage, Paul is talking about his accolades and credentials. Remember, he says that if anyone has a right to have confidence in himself, it's Paul. But let's look at the very next verse. Paul says, but everything that was a gain to me, I've considered it to be a loss because of Christ. It didn't matter how faithful to Jewish law Paul was, nor his heritage as a Jew, nor his zeal or his adherence to the law as a Pharisee. Everything that was considered a plus in Paul's corner was considered worthless, rags because of Christ. No matter how good we think we are, we're nothing compared to the goodness of Christ. Those of us who have been redeemed by our Lord are not redeemed because of our own goodness, but because of his goodness. Jesus Christ makes us good or righteous not because of our church attendance or our family history. So stop trying to justify your life based on what you do and reorient your life towards Jesus, the one who makes us truly good. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. We're getting ready for the morning show beginning at 7. We'll update you on everything that's gone on local. Those headlines that matter to you, what's going on in your communities. Always good to know that, isn't it? As we start to look at things happening around America today, we'll have to note that near the White House yesterday, buildings were evacuated. A threat was called in. They evacuated everything to be on the safe side. There was nothing to it, but quite a little, I guess you would call it a scare. Anytime they start doing that. We had an evacuation of our own yesterday. We'll tell you about after 7 o'clock this morning. To say the least, and again, we'll say that this morning things are fragile as we break the headlines of what's happening today. The ceasefire that is between Israel and Iran is kind of fragile at this point, as Iran did fire something overnight. Israel not happy. They would like to annihilate at this point, probably. It is very fragile. Well, they're really giving Tucker Carlson a hard time as he picked on the president about what he was doing. I can't even repeat half of the things that are being said about Tucker at this point. They're giving that boy a hard time. Let me read you why they are jumping on this so hot and heavy on Tucker. He made a post, and I believe this was on Twitter, X, however you want to word it. It's worth pointing out that a strike on the Iranian nuclear sites will almost certainly result in thousands of American deaths at bases throughout the Middle East and cost the United States tens of billions of dollars. The cost of future acts of terrorism on American soil may even be higher. Those aren't guesses. Those are the Pentagon's own estimates. A bombing campaign against Iran will set off a war, and it will be America's war. Don't let the propagandists lie to you. That was Tucker Carlson. Again, they're giving him a hard time this morning for his prediction that isn't quite right. Now, again, there's some issues this morning as Iran is wanting to bow up this morning. Let's hope this all settles down quickly there. Have you ever been on an airplane? I've been on one or two, and it did kind of take your breath away. You ever been in any turbulence when you rode an airplane? I'm sure there's a lot of you, believe it or not, there's a lot of Americans that have never been on an airplane. You just never had a use to be on one. But you're floating along in the friendly skies, and all of a sudden it's like hitting a speed bump is what I would call it. And it'll do that. And then you'll get in some more, and it does that. We had 5 people that were rushed to a hospital as soon as a plane landed. It was headed from Miami International to Raleigh-Durham International Airport. They'll all be okay in the end, but it did shake them up pretty bad. Again, it'll catch you off guard. Yeah, and then it comes back up. As what do they say? Put your heart in your throat, so to speak. It'll do that. Another person in South Carolina has been attacked by a shark. Doesn't take me but once to learn that I don't need to be in those waters. How about y'all? They'll be okay, but like that little girl that was injured a few weeks ago. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I had to look this up. And we'll talk to my rock music expert on the morning show, but Bad Company. Anybody heard of them? It was a rock group. The guitarist for them, Mick Rouse, has died at the age of 81. So I sat and I pondered and I thought, well, what do they sing? I couldn't come up with a single thing. So I Googled it. Uncle Google tells me I know one song they did. Anybody remember the song Feel Like Making Love? Feel like... That's it. There's a whole list of other songs that I don't think I've ever heard. I guess the rest of those songs never made it to the parking lot of Hojo's where you could overhear them out of a car. Okay, they wasn't John Ely. I just didn't know them. Let's see what else. Amtrak. They had to evacuate a train. I have never been in subways because I've never been to Washington, D.C. or any big city that has those. It's similar, I'm sure, to what I've rode at like Houston International. As you land there and you have to ride those trams, or if you go to Atlanta to ride those that go around the airport to drop you off. It's got to be similar to that. But it was an Amtrak in Boston that broke down. They sat in the dark for an hour, no AC, and they finally had to evacuate the Amtrak there. My. But that was a nice neighborhood to be let off in the dark, in a tunnel. What lurks there? Hubba, hubba, hubba. I have never heard this term as to why I brought this story up. As we all know, she didn't get to attend any meetings for being naughty. And I'm talking about Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard, you know, the lady that was in Hawaii, and then she got picked into the Trump cabinet. She criticized him pretty hard, so he didn't let her come to meetings. But she's used a term that I've never heard before. It may be popular, common, and I just don't know it. And I'll read you the quote here. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, praised what she called a historic ceasefire agreement between Iran and Israel, crediting Donald Trump with brokering the deal, calling it a Herculean effort. You ever heard of that?
I've never heard it put that
Hercules,
way.
Hercules.
I know the sheriff's department's got Hercules.
They do have Hercules. It's a big tank. Oh, well, it was news to me. I thought I'd share it to you. Boy, Mississippi is making headlines nationally this morning. Why? A little town called Ellisville, Mississippi, which is due south of Meridian. Why? They've had 2 sets of triplets in the little town about 4 to 5 months apart. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? What's in the water in Ellisville? Triplets? All I can say is I've seen parents with twins who struggle to keep up with bottles. Can you imagine having triplets, trying to feed, change clothes, diapers, and get that ready for church on Sunday? Woo-wee. We wish the parents good luck there. It's a blessing as always. Do we have any fans of Dolly Parton that watch? Oh, I think Dolly is one of the greatest. She is a sweet lady. She is headed back to Vegas. Why? She's going to be playing the National Rodeo Finals coming up this year at the end of during the rodeo. So expect her to be there. I'm trying to think of when will it be? It's the first time she's been there in 32 years. December 4th through the 13th, if you're going to be at the National Rodeo Finals in Vegas this year, make sure to get a ticket. You'll get to see Dolly perform during that. That's a pretty big deal there. We have... I remember talking about this because I often, whenever Vermont finally does make the news, it's not very often. But they did this year under a horrible circumstance of when an agent with police was killed. He was killed by a woman in Vermont. She's to appear in court today and she's accused of this murder. They're saying she's a part of a cult, so to speak. Federal court today, multiple criminal cases linked to a cult-like group known as Zions. I've never heard of them before either. Teresa Youngblood fired the bullet that killed David Milland, and during that traffic stop, she also wounded someone else. The person that was with her was taken out. She lived. She's going to be tried now. How awful that is for an officer to lose his life. We have a lobbyist. Anybody a lobbyist that watch? They have a job to do just like anybody else. They go to Washington or they go to Jackson, to wherever capital is, and they try to convince lawmakers to vote one way or the other. What happens when they go bad? A Minnesota lobbyist has done just that. He's been doing it for 20 years. He sent threatening texts to someone. And it was pretty bad. Jonathan Bowen, he's 41. Threats of violence, reckless disregard. He could face $10,000 fine plus 5 years in prison. I won't even say the line that he used. I'm not sure where it falls under this, but he told someone he had bought a bunch of blank and he would come get them with it. My, oh my. Everybody's okay, but he's been arrested. Hudson River. We got a dozen people that got injured when a yacht crashed into the river harbor. We're going to be okay. It's no deaths, but shook everybody up as that came in and hit. Let's see what else we got this morning. They've identified, we talked about this where it happened over the weekend. Another church was under fire when we had someone try to attack a church. It ends up being a guy that still lived with his mama. He was 31. He attended church about twice. I think she went every Sunday. He just wasn't frequent. Why he did it, we don't know, but he's 31 years old. He was shot by a security guard as he opened fire outside a Michigan church during a service. My. Brian Anthony Browning was his name. He is no longer a threat to anyone. Thought you might want to know that. Didn't work out quite as well for a church this was in Syria. 22 people were killed when someone walked into that church. There's a lot of people, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, that want to harm Christians. It is becoming a thing to where people want to attack you for no reason for that. Stand your faith, never back down. Well, you've heard me talk about cases that go to court that in my eyes is a waste of the court's time. This would fall under that. We have a man in a Louisiana prison that is claiming religious problems because someone cut his dreadlocks. So he's suing the state of Louisiana and the prison guards for cutting his hair. Well, that's what happens when you go to jail. You live by a new set of rules. You broke the law, and the law won, and they can shave your head. I truly wish we had a system that thinned this out to where it really didn't make it to court, to where we could get business taken care of instead of wasting our time on senseless acts like this. That's my thoughts. There's some people that are not going to like this. Most of them, I think, would be called liberals. The Supreme Court has ruled. They brought down a gavel and said that Trump can deport immigrants to a third world country. Not a third world, but to third countries. My, oh my. President of the United States being able to make his own decisions to protect its land. There's a lot of people that won't like that. And I really don't know that they don't understand that they're harming America. Are they complaining to be complaining, and they don't realize that these people truly will harm us, their people? I don't know the answer to that, but he can do it. They'll whine a little bit, so y'all be expecting that in the news for the next few days. Now, I've mentioned several times on here through the years, I've never made it to Washington. I'd love to go one day. It's our nation's capital. It's a lot of history there. You've heard of the National Mall, hadn't you? It's kind of like a park, and they've got places where you can eat and all of this. We had someone drive through there over the last couple of days in an SUV. Park police chase. They finally caught them after they got back on the highway. No one was hurt, but were they aiming to hurt someone? We see barriers all around the US of A now. Lake Tahoe. Boy, that I've often heard about Lake Tahoe. I've never been there. It's beautiful, I hear. We have a boat that is capsized. 8 people have passed away in that accident. Prayers for their families there as we go toward the 4th of July there. Terry, good morning. Good to see you there. Sheila Chisholm is up with us. Jean, good morning. Good morning. And Barbara Smith, how are you today? Let's see what else we've got happening this morning. We have a father that is he's up to here, and he should be. He left his toddler in the car as he went to a bar and drank. His son has died from heat exhaustion. Do y'all remember when we talked about the first death of the summer when that happened? This isn't the last one either. We'll have more stories like this, unfortunately, to tell you throughout these summer months. When you become a parent, and let me grab everybody's attention. When you become a parent, and I did 31 years ago, Dylan Ray turned 31 this year, your life changes. There is no longer me. It's all about your child. When you have a child, your life should change, and everything revolves around that child to make sure that they're okay. There's a lot of selfish people in this world, and I claim people to be like this selfish. Why? Oh, can somebody forget something? Yes, but you don't forget your child. It's a shame. Be a parent, do the right thing. Your life should change. Bar hopping and all that needs to go away. Doesn't hurt to show up on Sunday morning, does it? I don't know much about this, but we'll see where this goes. South Dakota, there's been talks about something to do with Trump, to where we got a company that's donated 40 acres of land that possibly would be, I don't know whether it would be exactly like Mount Rushmore, but it's within a mile of Mount Rushmore. It would be some type of tribute to Americans. Trump would be a part of it. Just the talk of it is starting those to raise Cain, roll around on the floor and holler. They just can't handle that. My, oh my, oh my. We've got your headlines coming up in just a moment of weather. We'll get into all of that in just a second. Don't go anywhere. I'd like to welcome WMOX also to the show this morning, those listening there on the radio. We'll be right back in just a moment.
We are at Downtown Meridian at Meridian Shoe Factory on 22nd Avenue. They are having a one-time closeout sale on all their old inventory to make room for their new inventory. They have slashed their prices from $40 to $30 to even $20. And for every shoe you buy, your name gets put in the raffle to win a wonderful prize at the end of this month. Come see them Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and Saturday from 10 to 2.
Hi, this is Nick at Doc's Toyota, and we are excited to put you in a new Toyota today. We have no dealer markup, no hidden fees, no hassle, and our inventory is always priced to move. Our top-notch sales department and first-class service after the sale guarantees you a fast and comfortable buying experience like you've never had. So come see why month after month, more and more customers have chose to buy from Doc's Toyota. So come see us here at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia, at docstoyota.com or on Facebook, and remember, there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
I was noticing comments on that of how could you forget a child in a car. Believe it or not, most of these deaths kind of happen that way. And you'll have someone that said, well, my wife normally takes the child and I forgot I had them. Grandparents have done it. Bar hopping and all, it's just, there's no sense in it. Again, be a parent. Do the right thing, what you're supposed to do. As I mentioned a moment ago, we could have some severe weather. Alabama tomorrow. Today is just going to be hot, hot, hot. Tomorrow, there is that chance. Let me show you this as we go back to radar. Doc's Toyota radar, as we look at this. A little bit of rain there in Clark County. It'll take in that eastern half of Wayne County. But as we get down to Saraland, y'all look at this. If you're vacationing, watching this morning, all along there. Woo. Mobile, Navarre, Destin, Gulf Shores, Alabama. A level 2 as we look at this over to Santa Rosa Beach, going down all the way here to Apalachicola, Florida. Some storms possible through there, Dothan, Alabama, up to Troy as well. Enterprise will be in that little segment there of possibility of severe weather tomorrow. So keep that in mind as you're getting ready to vacation there. Let's get into our forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
Those record highs, record lows back in 22, and 22 had several hot days. Again, 102 back then. We'll get warm to 95 today. Back in 1902, it warmed up to 58. Yesterday, it was 55 in 02. So there we go. Well, wait a minute. Nothing from Jackson this morning. It's still blank there as an outlook of the state. As we do see that Alabama's over at 94 in Demopolis, 95 in Birmingham. We're even hotter down in Montgomery. Look at that, 98 degrees in Montgomery, Alabama. As we look to this is our heat stress today, and this will be in effect until 7 p.m. tonight. We could see heat indexes anywhere from 105 to 110. We're right smack dab in the middle of that. Most of the state of Mississippi is. As we'll go back and look at that radar again before we close. We see here, as we look at Alabama, as we just showed you that, the live view of that, it's going to be from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. in the afternoon, those chances. Warmer weather all across the deep south. It is extremely hot in the Carolinas as you go up that eastern coast there, but still warm here in Mississippi. As we look at our 7-day outlook, we hit 95 today. 74 is our low tonight. Minimal chance of an afternoon sprinkle. We'll hit 97 tomorrow. 20% chance for the Meridian side, and again, east of us into Alabama will be a bigger chance. Our terrain chance to start moving in on Thursday with a 40% increase into a 50% chance on Friday. Look at this over the weekend, 60 and 70% chance of rain. We'll stay in the mid-90s throughout all of this. Still a 70% chance of rain next Monday. As we roll into July, we'll go all the way to the 8th. The 4th still looks good. Only a 30% chance of showers, and we should have a great show downtown. Usually it's at Bonita Lakes. I believe we'll have that again as we prepare for another 4th of July to celebrate our country's freedom. Hope you'll join us there. As we look at the best times to fish today, the wind's going to be calm around east this afternoon. Major times to fish is 11 o'clock today till about 1:15. Right along in there. Minor times will be tonight at dusk dark around 7:30 to 8:30. Sunrise happened at 5:49 this morning. Sunset will roll in about 8:05 tonight. Not bad at all, is it? Now, as we look here, National Hurricane Center, 40% chance here. Again, it's moving away from the states. That's good. 40% chance of that little storm becoming something nasty. We'll watch it to make sure nothing becomes of that also. Let me go back here, as I mentioned, and show this really quick here and turn off the severe weather and show you where we are when it comes to this heat index. There we go. Again, most of the state, all of these areas, that little pink shade through 7 p.m., a heat advisory. We're watching it closely there. Here's the thread as we were looking just a moment ago. This becoming something right there. And again, it's moving way away from us at this point. So nothing to worry about in the Gulf of America. We do have something going off to the east. We got something a little bit down here by Mexico. Hadn't developed into anything unknown. No effect to the our side, at least in the Gulf at all at this point. We'll watch the tropics for you and keep you posted. Already 6:55. We're going to be back in a couple of minutes from now as we'll go live to bring you the morning show. All things local. It's up and coming. Good morning, Lisa. Beth Vick is up. Miss Ann Hall. So good to see y'all. We'll be back in a moment. We'll get it started at 7 a.m. We can't do it without you. Join us, won't you? It begins here at the Scotty Ray Report.